Thank you so much for checking out this free video. If you don't mind, please click like and subscribe. All right, what's the news today? Seems to be a lot of confusion about this WrestleMania thing. Someone here on the chat goes, "What? It's not confirmed?" Well, here's the thing. This seems like a really simple story, but it is a very weird story. So the simple story seems to be, well, they announced New Orleans, they were offered a better deal, and so they switched. That seems like the easy story, but it is not that simple. Because right now, it appears next year's WrestleMania is going to be in Las Vegas again, and not in New Orleans. But what is weird about this story is that it leaked yesterday that WrestleMania was no longer in New Orleans, okay? Now, if you listen to the show yesterday, I talked about 3 rumored locations. And this was from talking to a lot of people, and this was also people within WWE, because no one knew at that point. They only knew it was no longer New Orleans. So the rumored locations were Saudi Arabia and Mexico and London. And the reason for all of these, well, there were a lot of reasons. Obviously, the Saudi Arabia reason was people figured, well, it's got to be moving to Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia can pay enough money to make it worth their while to pull out of New Orleans. Well, the problem with Saudi Arabia is they're already doing the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. So that would look like a distant third. There was also Mexico. And I thought, okay, well, Mexico is a possibility because, hey, they just bought AAA. They want to move full bore into Mexico. There's Aztec Stadium, which just would be the biggest WrestleMania of all time if they went to Aztec Stadium. As far as attendance, they can put like 125,000 people in there. So I thought the timing, maybe that's what happened. They're going to Mexico. Others thought that as well. And the third option was London, which would be an attempt to, put one over on AEW. Go in there, probably run Wembley, try to sell more tickets. Tickets would be significantly more expensive, enormous gate. London has been wanting the show for a long time. Everyone's been talking about London. So those were like the 3 that everybody was talking about is it's probably going to be moving to one of those places. Well, then, shortly after the show ended, it came out that no, they're trying to run Las Vegas again. And my first thought was, what? Why? Why are we running Vegas again? And obviously the answer is, well, money. The city of Vegas was obviously willing to pay them more than New Orleans was. Now, it had to have been like quite a bit more, because my guess is that to break the contract with New Orleans, you're going to have to probably pay them something and promise them a WrestleMania down the road. And, so it had to be, pretty big amount of money. So here's where the weird thing comes in. So it all comes out that WrestleMania is not in New Orleans, and it's almost certainly going to be in Las Vegas. But I say almost certainly because it's not confirmed yet. They don't have Las Vegas locked down. So, from the front page of WrestlingObserver.com, Dave Meltzer reports TKO Sports Group plans to run Mania in Vegas, and the decision was made partially because this year's Mania made so much money overall in Las Vegas from all sources, and they could not make that level of money in New Orleans. The other is the company loved having it in Vegas because key TKO executives live there, and Nick Khan grew up there. The plan is to run WrestleMania, not necessarily every year, but frequently, which, by the way, WWE has stated that's not necessarily true, but, we'll see down the road. I think there's going to be a lot of WrestleManias in Vegas. And the idea is the city wants to have a major destination sports event every year, which would be Super Bowl, Final Four, College Football, National Championship Final, and WrestleMania. And so they would be running there more frequently for Mania. So Dave confirmed WWE has reserved Allegiant Stadium. So when I first heard Vegas, I thought they must have got a great deal on the Sphere. Nope. Allegiant Stadium, April 18th and 19th. So originally, New Orleans was going to be April 11th and 12th, but they're looking at April 18th and 19th for WrestleMania, which is not Easter weekend. That's the first weekend of April this coming year. But he says there are a couple of issues that are being worked out regarding the move. There's a concert booked at the stadium that has not been announced that makes the moving in and setting up of the stadium too tight. Those in charge of the stadium have attempted to move the concert date, but the concert promoters have stated they have a contract for that date, and thus they are unwilling to move. The other is the Las Vegas Convention Center, which hosted all the fan gatherings, is open for that weekend, but does not have the same amount of open space as it did for WrestleMania this year. The other event that, as part of the convention center booked, is also unwilling to move, but they could use less space in the building or move to a different convention center, with the Mandalay Bay being most likely. So there are two holdups, and at this point, I mean, it's almost certainly going to be in Vegas, but it's not confirmed. Have you grabbed your F4WOnline.com shirt yet? Well, we got a bunch of them. They're up in the store right now. F4WOnline.com/shirts. You can grab your -5 stars shirt, your Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer shirts, even the brand new After Dark Radio shirt. You love Granny? We have Granny's Gang shirts. Have you ever won a shoot battle royal? Probably not, but you can tell people you did. So check out the store. All of these great shirts and more. It's through Pro Wrestling Tees. F4WOnline.com/shirts. That's F4WOnline.com/shirts.